Hello everyone, and welcome to our first edition of the JKM News, where news are faster than your Wi-Fi connection. Today, we're gonna talk about two very important topics: the spill drill outside the BSC or the Biosafety Cabinet, and proper waste segregation. But first, let's talk about the spill drill outside the BSC. And in order to understand this topic, we have one of the hottest, handsome, and smartest member of the team. Dr. Mike reporting live from Rome. Dr. Mike, to you.
Thank you so much, Jen Calmontejo, News Anchor. This is Dr. Mike reporting live from Rome. Behind me, the Colosseum, where the gladiators were training hard day and night in order to be able to explain to you and help you understand the biological spill response and its procedures. It's inevitable when working in a laboratory that you will have to deal with a spill situation at some point. It is important that a laboratory must have a readily available spill kit. If you happen to encounter a spill in the laboratory, the first thing you need to do is to alert everyone in the area. And then you doff or remove your PPE. And then leave the laboratory area for at least 30 minutes to allow the agents to settle. Next, while waiting, inform the laboratory manager and biosafety officer, conduct risk assessment, and identify the hazard. Next, place a sign on the door indicating that there is a spill. Next, you don appropriate PPE and re-enter the area with your spill kit. Always go as pairs. One will clean and one will read the procedures. Next, you place the absorbent material on the spill. You cover the whole area. And then, you pour appropriate disinfectant concentrically, starting from the outer part to the center. It is important that you do not spray the disinfectant because it will lead to aerosol formation. Next, you observe appropriate contact time, preferably 20-minute contact time in order to inactivate all biological materials in the spill. Next, pick up the absorbent material using tongs and place inside a biohazard bag or yellow bag. If they are sharps, pick up using tongs and place in sharps container. And then, you perform another round of cleaning until the whole area has been cleaned and dried. Then, you doff used PPE and put discard bag into another bag, also called as double bagging. And always remember, after you doff your PPE, you do the hand washing. And then, you put reusable materials in different container or bag. Then, you decontaminate waste in the autoclave. You remove the signage, and then you prepare a report. So, thank you so much, Jan Calmontejo. This is Dr. Mike reporting from Rome. Back to your studio.
Thank you so much, Dr. Mike. What a smart and handsome person you are. And it's encouraging to see that the Romans were so involved with this topic. And now, we're gonna proceed to our next topic, which is the proper waste segregation. And in order to understand this topic, we have one of the most tolerant, chill, and smartest members of the team. Kuya Kim, pasensya ka na. God bless. Kuya Kim, to you.
Thank you so much, Jan Calmontejo, News Anchor. Today, I'll be talking all about proper waste segregation. Waste segregation is the key to any effective waste management. It is the process of separating trash into wet, dry, infectious, and recyclable. Medical laboratories are at the center of medical diagnosis, discovery, and advancement. The essential and important work done daily in the laboratories across the Philippines naturally results in medical waste, some benign, some hazardous. The lab manager should understand and be aware of the type, the volume, and method of storage for each waste stream, from the moment it is generated to when and where it is ultimately disposed. This makes it critical for lab managers to have a laboratory waste disposal plan in place for dealing with the various waste streams generated by their facility, and to train his or her staff on how to handle medical waste properly. So in the laboratory, we classify our waste according to the color coding scheme of the DOH. So in our example, the color code for the black one, the type of container is trash bin or plastic bags. And the type of waste is non-infectious dry waste. For the green one, it's the same, the type of container, the trash bin, and the plastic bag. Type of waste is non-infectious wet waste. For the black is dry waste, and green one is wet waste. For the yellow one, it is the plastic bag or double bagging type of container. And for the type of waste, it is infectious pathologic waste. For the red one, it is puncture-proof container, because the type of waste is sharps. So therefore, the type of container must be puncture-proof container. For the orange one, the type of container is containers. Type of container is containers. The type of container is containers. And the type of waste is the radioactive waste. So, in dealing with segregation errors, staff should never attempt to correct errors of segregation by removing items from a bag or container after disposal, or by placing one bag inside another bag of a different color, because they lead to contamination. And always remember the rule of thumb. If general and hazardous waste are accidentally mixed, the waste should always be treated as hazardous waste. So, that's it. So thank you so much, Jen Calmonteo. This is Kuya Kim. Pasensya ka na. God bless. Back to News Studio.
Thank you so much, Kuya Kim. What a smart, patient, and chill person you are. And that's it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. And this is the first edition of the JKM News. And stay tuned, because there's more to come. If the production and sponsors approve. We don't have any sponsors. Thank you so much. La, 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 la.